everybody. Welcome to another episode of Alto Call MAFS. And this is the MAFS Rewatch, where we are rewatching season 9 of Married at First Sight. I am your host, Tane, and with me is my co host for this rewatch, Jen. Hi, Jen. How are you?
I am excellent. I was sharing with you before that I had a sinus infection while I was in Laos, but there are pharmacies everywhere and I got some good decongestant and I binged and just like that. And then I listened to your episode with Anna and yeah, y'all are spot on. Spot on.
Somehow it's switched to fun for me because I don't know what the writers are going to throw at us. And you know what? Rolling with it is just much fun. It's much better than bitching at them. But I think we have a good balance of bitching
Yeah.
about the writers and then having fun with it. So, you know,
But
it's all
y'all,
good.
yeah, and y'all are not wrong. And I agree with you that downstairs neighbor guy does give me like Patrick Dempsey vibes. Although Patrick Dempsey looked old a
Yeah.
lot sooner, so maybe like Patrick Dempsey's older brother. But yeah, I did see that
Yeah.
the salt and pepper hair. I got all
Thank you.
that.
um, if you don't know what she is talking about, guys, I'm just going to dive into it since I was going to talk about housekeeping anyways. I have another podcast called the Rewatch Sex in the City. We got to do a name change because we're done watching Sex in the City. The whole goal was watching all of the seasons and the movies, which we did. And just like that came about while we were doing our rewatch. So we have been recapping that also. So and just like that, season 3 is currently streaming on Max, well, HBO Max now again. So you can listen to our weekly recaps over there anywhere you find our podcast. And then I think we need to find a show that we're going to rewatch. We have a show in mind, but it's just getting our schedules aligned and rewatching another show. And besides that, guys, there is a Patreon. I have a Patreon, patreon.com/slash autocallmafs, where there's lots more bonus episodes where I talk about other shows other than MAFS. Just wrapped up the ultimatum, the entire season 2 Queer Love, and the reunion is up there. Upcoming 90 Day Happily Ever After just started. I keep saying I'm gonna quit that show, and I have not quit that show, and I think it's because of Aid. But Aid and I are gonna be doing a recap. So just, if you're subscribed, you'll see when the episode comes up. I'm not sure exactly. Getting schedules is hard, especially during the summer when everyone's doing one thing or the other. So look out for that. And then, if you don't want to be a paid member where you can listen ad free, also, you can just support me. You can be a free member, and free members have access to the chats. And we chat about different things over there. And right now, I don't know or think that I'm going to cover Love is Blind Sweden, but we are chatting about it because we're watching it at a very leisurely pace. And some people have watched it already, but people are commenting, and you can join us in watching that as a free member as well. And also, Love Island is done. Love Island USA is done, thank God. I have some time back in my life, but just wanted to share that I did do a recap with Lauren from MAF season 17. And in between recapping, we talked a little bit about her MAF journey, some behind the scenes. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can go check out. That's available to everyone on the regular feed on the podcast. And Love is Blind UK is coming. Trying to see what I can do with that. And, we don't have a schedule or a date yet, I believe, but I will be covering that in some capacity. And just wanted to let you guys know that I am working on just having like the conversations I had with Alexis, just chatting with past MAFS participants, seeing where they are now, seeing what nuggets we can get from their time there. So stay subscribed, and a couple of interviews coming soon on the podcast. So yeah. Okay. Some things that are going on, not much to share, but the big one is that Mindy and Steve got engaged.
Yay!
Yeah, they've lasted for a little bit now. I think it's about 2 years, I want to say,
Their
that they've
kids
been together.
their kids are going to have excellent teeth.
That's funny. The other is that Chris from the Atlanta season, Chris, who brought us a lot of MASH fans from that season, shared that he had been praying to be used by God and he was called by the Lord to give up three things. The other two things he was cool with. I don't know what they are, but he struggled with the last one, which was being celibate until marriage. And he ignored it, but then he started having dreams and visions. And so he's obeying the call and he's going to be celibate. And he is just sharing for anyone called to do the same. And it's just more about the obedience and just a piece of encouragement to anyone who is going through that same thing.
If him and Justin start a podcast, I quit life.
I think, every time I talk to like a maths person, I ask, where are you on the side of the fence? Are you on a I wish maths never existed in my life? And or are you like, it happened, it's cool, it was tough, but I'm so grateful I did it. I think Chris is on the I don't even know what you're talking about. Who that? Harpo who that man. So I don't even see him interacting with any other person from there, but it's not impossible. But if that happened, I will listen for you guys so you don't have to.
Oh, you're doing, and you are doing the Lord's work, because I can't imagine the two of them talking about celibacy on a podcast. And we may have just put that out in the universe, and I apologize to everyone if it actually happened.
Okay, we will go into the episode. I have no mailbag question this week, but just a reminder that if you have any questions about any reality show or anything at all, just it doesn't have to be a question, could be a comment, could be anything. You could send it in and I will answer on an episode unless you have one. Jen.
I always have a question for you, of course.
Okay.
And this is a just like that after listening to your episode.
Okay.
So there was the part which it kind of falls into MAFS a little bit, where LTW and her husband end up sleeping in separate bedrooms
Mm.
because she's talking in her sleep or
Snore.
whatever.
You talking to sleep? Yeah.
And she's really upset about it. Well, how did she not know he left? But she's really upset about it. And I think this kind of leads into MAFS, especially with Beth and Jamie kind of doing their move out count. So where are you with that in terms of you and your hubby? Like, do you ever sleep separately? Under what occasions? Is it a big deal? Like, how does that happen in your life?
It has never happened. I
Wow.
think that if it does happen, I will probably react like LTW. But I remember saying on the podcast that again, there's no one size fits all. It's just whatever works best. Maybe I will adjust. I don't know. But I'm still in my clingy phase of I want my husband with me intertwined. I mean, not through the
Oh.
whole night because I get hot, but I need that. Like when he's out of town, I'm just like, ah. But I mean, it's possible. It's not like impossible. But I feel like because it's an integral part for us.
Mhm.
I would probably freak out. It might not mean anything. He's a snorer. I'm gonna out him right now. Like I'm a light sleeper, so
Oh
it's
no.
not like it's not a thing. But I'd rather hear him snoring than not be in the bed with me.
Gotcha.
So
Noted. Hmm.
yeah. Okay. Well, where are you on that? I should ask that.
Well, it's a little bit different now that we've got this international travel life, and most of the
Mm-hmm.
time we end up in like studios, so there's no
Mm-hmm.
there's no way for either of us to go.
Yeah.
But when we lived in the States and we had multiple bedrooms in the house, occasionally I would, if he was snoring, or if I just had a lot of stuff on my mind and I wanted to like type it
Yeah.
out. So I would go to
Yes.
another room and just like bang it out on my computer, but then inevitably he'd come in and go, "Where'd you go?" So
Yeah.
yeah, I think at some point I'm like, I need to be alone, but then I'm alone for about 5 minutes and I'm like, never mind, and I go back. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I understood. It's not the death knell like people might assume it is, but it's just different. All right. So let's start with Beth and Jamie because why not? So Beth and Jamie are on good terms, but I say good terms loosely because on a base level, these two are always bickering. And right now they're bickering about the home being untidy. And because they just can't have regular people bickering like, oh, you did this. she's saying like, how did we get it like this? And Jamie can let it go. And he's like, what do you mean we? What? I'm like, oh God. It's just the home is untidy. Let's just move on with that. Jamie tells us that being clean is not a priority for her. Ouch. But she has other redeeming qualities.
Hey, he's Mr. Glass half full. You know, he tries. And I'm still mad at Beth, and I cannot wait till you get her on. I'm still mad at her for making me go on Jamie's side because I truly did dislike this man at the very beginning. But he really does try. And I think he does, you know, do a good job of checking himself until he
Hmm.
can't. I think he's got kind of a gas tank on it where he's like,
Hmm.
I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. My tank is empty, and then he explodes. So he was
That is
trying.
interesting. I think they are on the same level. They're
Mm.
just bringing out the worst in each other. Like, yeah, he's good at saying in the confessionals that, oh, it's fine. Like, she's this
Hmm.
or I can do this. But his actions don't usually match his words. And then she's just guilty of being a princess and
Yes.
just not being able to control her emotions. And you combine that with insecurities, which I think he has too. And it's just not good.
No, not at all.
So, I guess an example of how, he's trying, he goes ahead and he drinks this moon water that was placed outside all night, 24/7. We do not know what bugs are in there, but he tells us that he appreciates that she's weird because it keeps things interesting. So it's their 1 month anniversary. That is the theme across all the couples on this episode. Jamie had left a pink rose and a pink envelope and asked her to meet him where they got married. And she gets there in a car and he meets her with flowers. And they basically recreate their wedding moments. And when they do the vows, he vows to find resolution whenever they're butting heads. And Beth is just giddy. Beth is like, she feels loved, that she just likes his creativity and his thought process. And then they sit down to eat. And Beth gives Jamie her gifts. And her gifts are one of those coupon books and things where when you want to redeem it, you just tear it out, give it to them. And I 99% think that there was sexual stuff in there. And I'm like, is sex back on the table or did I miss that part?
Yes, and that was my problem with the whole thing was like you had a whole episode where you accused him like whether she meant it facetiously or not about
Yeah.
being a sex addict and that they have sex and she doesn't feel appreciated in their sex and she's having physical reactions to it. So I would think in this situation the last thing you'd want to do and again I agree with you. I assume 99.9% of those coupons were sexual. So it's so kind of not disingenuous, but it's tough for him to know where he stands when she goes back and forth. So I don't know. Yeah, that one made me uncomfortable.
Yeah. I think now looking back, it's like, did she take sex off the table because she really wanted to grow their relationship and felt like this would help, let them be friends first without the physical stuff? Or was that some form of punishment?
Yeah, I think she said stuff. Again, they dig at each other to elevate a situation and to be right or to be combative. And I feel like that was something she said to him just to be combative and to dig at him because it wasn't that long after that where they had she did the sexy dance. And
Hmm.
so I don't know. I want to be on her side. I want to feel like protect your body, protect your boundaries, but I don't know if she's clear on what her boundaries are.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jamie's gift, I believe it was a Tiffany bag. That's the color, the teal. And it was a heart necklace. And again, she says she feels love and she's overwhelmed. And if decision day was today, it would be 1,000% yes. So then he asked her, like, what are three things that he could do better? And you guys, Beth had nothing. Beth said he's been doing great the last few days, especially that there's nothing she would change. And I'm like, now was your chance.
Seriously. You tell
Take
lies.
advantage of it. He asked.
Lies.
So it can't be a
Exactly.
case of he'll be like, well, you're so mean. And you said, he asked you, what
Hmm.
could you do better? You are eating, you feel loved. Now is the time. And she fumbled the opportunity.
She fumbled the bag. Yeah, this was your time to be honest and have it be in a situation where you both feel good and you're approaching this criticism constructively and it's not retaliatory. Like, this is actually what communication should have been. But also, he dropped the ball too, because I think if he had started and he mentioned a couple things, she probably would have been like, oh, BT dubs. There's
Mm.
this, and this. So I think they both are liar, liar pantses. And in that wooden barn, having their pants on fire was not a good idea.
If he had started that way, that would have not started good. There's no good way to start it. I think the way he did it was the best way, having her be the one to start. Because if he was like, oh, these are three things that I think you could work on, her defenses would be up. Is today supposed to be a nice day? You want to talk about stuff? I think maybe, okay, thinking about it, maybe if he was like, three things I could work on, his things,
True.
that could have maybe like started off on a better foot. But these two are basically gasoline. They're just waiting for a match. So
Now, what did you think? And if this was so symbolic to me, where he put on the necklace and he said, oh, it's a pink sapphire because pink is your favorite color. And she goes, oh, I totally missed that. I just thought, like, that's your relationship in a nutshell.
I didn't even catch that. But yes, that makes sense. It was just about, let's do the surface. Who's looking deep? Who
Right.
cares?
Right.
So, okay, so they're going through their wedding photos, and Beth is saying all these nice things about herself, about the day of, talking about her hair looked so nice. Like, man, this wedding dress was so good. Look at my lips. My lips look good. My boobs look fantastic. And somehow, Jamie got mad. How do I say this? Could he be irritated? Could he have noticed that she did that? Yes. Could he have gone the route of, oh man, but you know what? That's Beth. That's how
Yeah.
she,
No.
and moved on. But to get actually mad and irritated about it, that it's not about us, there's a problem.
Yeah.
He feels like she is focused on shallow things and not the actual wedding. I hate to break it to you, but an actual wedding could be considered shallow. Like, everything about it. Everybody could easily like either elope or just go to the courthouse. So when you actually have a wedding, why would you want a wedding that's not nice? Why wouldn't you want a dress that's nice and that your hair nice and your makeup nice? And if you want to appreciate that, that is weird to me.
And it's not like he didn't have like a basic suit. Like, I think he was choosing between one suit that was really kind of unusual, but then his
Mm-hmm.
brother talked him into like the basic blue suit. So it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like he had something that she could have talked about anyway. But also, let's be realistic. The weddings are really about the bride, and it is about her hair and her makeup and her clothes and her dress and whatever. But again, this is, to me, Jamie just having his tank on E, and that was the last, straw of everything that he had put up with. And I don't know if this was all the same day as the moon water and her waking up and saying, can you make me coffee? And you made coffee and you drank the dirty water. Like, I think it's him going, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. I bought you the necklace. You didn't even notice that it was a pink sapphire. And I think at that point he was just done, because that seems to be Jamie's pattern is, I will give and give and give and give and give, but if I don't get anything back, I'm done. And I think that's where he was. Not me being a Jamie apologist, but
No, I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't even think about it that way, but I can see that. I can actually see that. It's just that if you're going to accept Beth for all her
no,
quirks,
no.
changing the rule book every single time is going to be a hell of a ride. Because I would think, making me drink dirty water or going along with the moon water, I'd be like, no thanks. I'm not getting sick for
Exactly.
somebody. But then now somebody's saying, oh, I look nice. That is what, and I get your point that it's accumulation of everything and that was just a head. I think what makes it worse is that he went to bed, slept on it, and was still mad about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so you didn't even feel, come at it from a rational point of view because again, Nothing good is permanent with these two. We suddenly get the security camera footage in black and white. And, that lens makes everything worse. Everything looks like a crime when it's a security when it's a security footage. And we just hear Beth telling Jamie, go away. And Jamie's annoyed and she's telling him, stop being mean, stop being critical. And he's going back and forth. And next thing we hear is that he calls her a materialistic bleep. And then I had to read Beth's mouth and cover your ears if you don't want to hear it, but it is their words, not mine, a materialistic cunt.
See,
I do not recall this, and I'm like, oh my god. I thought it was
yeah.
maybe bitch, which is not any better, but wow.
Yeah, the "See You Next Tuesday, Thank You, Charlotte" from Sex and the City is a hard thing for Americans. I realize the Brits
Yes.
use it all the time, but for
Yeah.
us, that's like,
It's major.
yeah, that's not one that you come back from easily at all. And thinking about their conversations and thinking about what Jamie could do differently, like, it would have been so easy for him to be like, hey, how do I look? Did you like my suit? I look pretty cute. I got my haircut. Sometimes you got to lead her into a compliment, and maybe that's what he needs to do, is change his approach. So if he gets to the point where he's so pissed off at her because she hasn't done or said something that he wants, maybe just kind of throw a crumb, because I think a lot of times she'll pick up on it. But
Just do what Greg does. It's hard to believe, but Greg and Deonna
exactly.
are in that position. Greg is practically begging for
Hmm.
compliments, but he makes it fun. He's not like,
Yes.
hey, you, whatever insulting words he wants to do, you're not giving me compliments. He's just like, let's make a game out of it. If you do this, you're going to kiss me. Let's make a card game. Let's do this. Let's do that. And Jamie is the oldest man.
Yeah.
So you would think he would have more sense, but I, I I don't want to invalidate his feelings, but I don't care. It doesn't make sense to me. I do not understand him being so angry that she was complimenting herself or was focusing on herself. Maybe it was about the necklace, because what I'm learning a lot of the times are that, reality show editing, maybe it's other things, but
Mm,
what on earth could be so bad that you have to call your wife of 1 month
yeah.
that word? Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, nothing. No matter how mad you are, take a walk, walk away, sit down and be a big boy, pull up your big boy panties and say, hey, this is how I felt. It may not make sense, but he just kind of felt like you were being shallow. And she'll be like, oh, I didn't even realize it. Like, I just
Exactly.
thought I looked good, because
Exactly.
she suffers from insecurities and all
Hmm.
that stuff, and just talk it out.
Yeah.
Why go to the extreme? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. They fight with grenades and fucking flamethrowers. The two of them just cannot have like a, hey, I disagree with you. It's like, no, I'm going to blow up everything on your side. And
Yep.
it just gets crazy.
Yep. So he's just like, she's like, I'm gonna leave the marriage. And he's like, I don't care. And then we see him with a bag and she's like, get out. And he's like, bye bye, have a good life. And I'm like, wow. So
Yeah.
the next morning, Beth doesn't feel good. I think it's a selfie cam, and she is like sobbing. She says she feels like she's not good enough for anyone, that she's too much, and this is probably why no one wants to be with her. And she doesn't understand what she did wrong, and it was just
I just kind of want her to watch a tape. Like,
sad.
can you, I mean, we all watch the tape and Dr. Pepper watches the tape. Like, maybe that's something she needs to do, is like, just watch a tape of yourself and see, like, huh, if you think it might be you, let's look at the evidence. And I don't know, I hope maybe that happens sometime in the future, because she's missing that clarity at all, because she thinks she's always right, and she thinks that all of this is happening to her and that she's doing things so right, and Jamie is just being, putting all of this stuff on her. And I don't know if she just doesn't have that perspective and that introspection to see.
That's funny. I was just thinking, I think you're giving me a lot to think about, because I was about to say, when you started, I was about to say, I don't think she doesn't know who she is, because from jump she says, I'm a lot. Like, I just think differently. I just do these things, but it's like she doesn't want to compromise who she is. But then as you were speaking, I'm like, okay, maybe like I'm assuming you mean she doesn't know that she's not processing some of the words that she says. Well, actually, let me ask you, what are you referring to when you say she needs to check, like, besides the princess behavior, what are the things that she needs to see?
I don't know if I think she just said stuff off the top of her head. And I don't think she thinks about the impact of her words. And she doesn't think about how yelling is going to make her partner feel. And she doesn't think about, you know, how saying some rude things to Jamie is going to, because again, they had this whole conversation with Dr. Pepper about you guys don't leave. Whatever you're going through, you don't leave. And so instead of, and I think even Jamie said that to her in another episode where like we were told not to leave. And so when he said, if I leave, this marriage is over, if she had kind of a thought other than I want to be right, you go, she could say like, no, we're not supposed to leave. And again, I'm having I listened to your episode today. And so it just reminds me of Lily, where you guys were talking about how you don't just get to be a jerky teenager. Like your behavior is terrible and you don't get to excuse it. You still have to do something about it. And that's kind of how I feel
Yeah.
about Beth. Like you don't just get to explode and say terrible things. Like you still have to be accountable for that. And I don't think she sees her behavior as part of the issue.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's fair. I think I keep thinking that I'm thinking of Beth after the truce, if she's done anything since then. But then, since after Dr. Pepper came, she did walk out the next day and was like,
Exactly.
fuck that.
Exactly.
So,
She threatened
yeah,
to, but she didn't actually leave. They slept in separate bedrooms. But
yeah.
yeah.
It's one of those things where, with a different partner, will that encourage that? Or is it exacerbated because you're with a partner who is not making you feel safe, you know? Or is it regardless of who you're paired up with, this is who you're going to be?
I don't know. I wouldn't even know
Yeah.
who to pair her up with, but certainly not this guy.
Okay. All right, guys, take a little break and we'll be right back. And we are back. Okay. Amber and Matt. Um, Amber wants to show Matt appreciation by cooking him a romantic dinner. Matt walks in with flowers, with dessert, and she says she's going to take a shower, and then she changes into a cute tight outfit and heels in the house. Hopefully she doesn't have a downstairs neighbor who's going to be mad about that. And Matt is like, "Oh, she looks really good, that if she wants that he'll skip dinner and they'll go straight to dessert." Which she kind of does, because when they were done, she's like, "I want you in my bedroom now." I'm like, I like a woman that knows what she wants. We get a too long segment for me of Matt rehearsing a song that he's writing for Amber for their 1 month anniversary. And yeah, he's eyes closed and everything. Matt and Amber go to the Omni Hotel for their dinner because remember, this is the era of product placements. They are also the ones who did the Sonic. And this time the waiter is like, "Hello, welcome. Thank you for coming to the Omni Hotel." So I will say, Jen, I feel like Matt looks lighter, and I don't mean like weight or anything. He looks like he's refreshed, he had a restart, he wants to be here, he's happier, he's smiling, he looks present. I don't know if you got that vibe as well.
Um, Matt could cure cancer and I would still dislike him very, very much.
Well, I mean, we could dislike him, but he looked lighter. He just seemed like he was back.
I'm
He looked like
all, yeah, I guess. I think and I'm looking for the symbolism and the things that people are saying. And so when he says, I could easily skip dinner and go straight to dessert, it's like his whole life. Like, let me skip all the parts that are work and just do the fun stuff. That's all I want to do. I want to have sex and play basketball and hang out with my friends and play guitar. All the other stuff somebody else can deal with. And I'm just like, oh, bro.
They talk about the best parts that they've had so far in the marriage, talk about Antigua, And she brings up him telling her, like when he goes out, like just being in communication. And this woman is asking for the bare minimum. She's like, when you go out, just tell me that you're alive.
Yes. So small. So small.
I just they keep Matt keeps talking about marriage like, it's so new, it's so this, it's so whatever. And I'm like, okay, have you not been in a relationship before? And no one's talking about keeping tabs on anything. But if I'm going somewhere or if someone's gonna be later than usual, I'll just send a quick text to my husband, like, oh, I'm here. We're just that it like even if it's a friend, like even if you're not dating or you're going somewhere and someone knows where you are, your roommate, something. I don't think it's so far out the ordinary to just let someone that you're doing life with know that, hey, I'm here. I just it's not, I've never done this before. Okay, but common sense as an adult tells you that there's somebody out there waiting for you. So
Yes. And
I don't know.
again, if he doesn't understand the relationship in an intimate heterosexual relationship, if he doesn't understand the inner workings of that, bro, you've been on a team. You know how this works. I know you have to check in with your coach. I know you have to check in with some guy you're sharing a room with at a hotel in Yugoslavia. Like, I know that you come from a family, even though you haven't talked to anybody for 2 years. You have to kind of communicate with people. And it's weird to me that it's so shocking for him, especially because I know that Amber is initiating text, and I'm sure he responds to those texts. But I think what she's doing is like, she's a teacher, so she's leading by example. I'm going to text you, so you should text me. And he's just like, no, I responded to the text you sent me, so what's the problem?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, she's trusting that sending positive vibes his way will encourage him to, act right. They watch their wedding video and then he plays her the song that he was practicing and he was so serious about it. And then I caught a few of the lyrics talking about he's a wanderer looking for pearls and treasure. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. So that was it really. They didn't really have that much presence, as usual on this episode because the only thing they have is the sex. So
Pretty much. And again, Amber doing all of the work in terms of I'm gonna make you dinner and I'm gonna make you feel loved, and she says all of these concrete things to him and he gives her back very little. And so
mhm.
I just want him. I know you said that he's light her, and I want him to be light, but I also want him to be present more than just physically in the body there. Like, I want you to realize this communication, this relationship requires you to be a part of it. And just being there in the house isn't enough.
Yeah.
And I want that for him. I'm rooting for him, sort of. I don't want him to be a
For
total.
him or for her?
I want him to be better for her.
Okay. We shall see. All right. Moving on to Iris and Keith. Keith is meeting up with his best friend Eric, and I do not remember. I usually by this time not remember who was at the wedding or who wasn't. But Eric seems surprised by everything that I'm like assuming he wasn't there, but that was his best friend. So I don't know. So he asked questions like, how are you maintaining work life balance? Then he asked about things in the bedroom. And Keith is like, oh, we're waiting. We're trying to see how that is. Eric is like, oh, is that mutual? And then he just casually mentions, oh, yeah, because, her being a virgin or whatever. And Eric's eyes are about to pop out his head. And Keith is like, oh, yeah, I didn't tell you that. I'm like, is this your best friend? Is this for the cameras? You're not texting? Like, what? Like, I can imagine if I was matched and then they matched me with a virgin, I am texting my best. We talk like all day long. I'm gonna be like, girl, do
Yeah.
you know?
Especially because that guy seemed to know a lot about his sex life. Didn't he say, like, oh, Keith is not somebody that can go that long without sex? So clearly
Yeah,
they have these conversains. So I agree
yeah.
that it's weird. But when he said, she what now? I was like, merch. That needs to be on a t-shirt.
And he was like taking a bite of his sandwich or something. I was like, Keith, watch where the food is first before you drop that casually. And he kept going on. So, yeah, like you mentioned, his friend is like, yeah, I don't think he has gone that long without having sex with someone. And then, especially someone he's sharing a bed with, like, yeah, that is going to be a big deal. So Keith is like, yeah, like it's such a big deal for me. I hate using the phrase, but this is what he said, taking her virginity, especially if it doesn't work out. I don't know, what how that's going to work out. And Iris at the same time is by the pool with her mom, and Iris is very childlike.
Oh my gosh,
She's
her bathing suit. I was like, are you four? What's happening?
It's a little pink Adidas
Oh my
bathing suit.
gosh.
And she's not wading in the water. I mean, I guess she's treading because her mom starts making metaphors about, your marriage and treading water. And she tells her mom that suddenly her virginity is an issue with Keith. And her mom is like, are you surprised by that? Her
Oh
mom
my.
is like treading very carefully. And then
Mhm.
she goes, yes, it is. And you guys, this part, Iris is like, it is a surprise to me because most guys would be so excited for me to give that to them,
Mm.
and have someone that hasn't been with anybody else and all that. And I'm like, wait, what?
No.
And it just goes, I'm going to concentrate more on it, just goes to show more of Iris's mindset. Like she really does believe that she's better because she's never had sex before, and that makes her more of a prize. Am I saying that isn't the case for some people? Yes, but also it is very strange that she actually believes this.
Yes.
Uh,
And where does that come from? Because I don't know. And again, we can use she's what now as a reference that is absolutely not true because,
yeah.
and again, to your point that you had brought up before, maybe if they had matched her with another virgin, yes, that guy would be like, oh, it's a prize. You saved it for me, my queen. Da, 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 da. But a guy that this is not his first experience with a woman, I don't know if he would feel that way. And maybe after they've built a relationship and, it's a precious thing when you finally get to that intimate moment. But to your point of her childlike approach to this is just it's weird. And she's so back and forth about, I'm holding on to this. You're a stranger, but you're my husband, but you're a stranger, but you're my husband. It's like you've got to pick a lane.
It'll be curious to know what she expected. And maybe Kevin would ask her this in the reunion. Like, did you really think that you were going to find someone that you trusted? Did you think that in 8 weeks you would be secure enough with this person and want to have sex with them? Like, were you willing to do this on camera? Because
Hmm.
that's the
Super
whole
no.
other layer.
Super no, not
Um,
on camera.
well, I mean, not like we're all tuned in on Lifetime to see it happen, but like you're gonna have to talk about it, and everyone knows that this happened, that happened, knowing that there's a risk that you could have met someone who maybe would have sex with you and then maybe it doesn't work out, or maybe it does work out. Like it's just everything was 50-50,
Yeah.
and were they all risks that she was willing to take? Like, was there even a possibility, or was she always like, I want to stay married, but I'm not going to have sex at all during the 8 weeks? Like it would be curious to know what her thoughts were
Yeah. And she said
coming
in
in
this
with this.
episode that she reinforced to Keith that she wants to stay married past the weeks. But again, conversation like what does that look like and what does that mean for us? Because I don't think he needs a timetable, but like Greg, can we lay out some steps? Can we lay out what works for you, where you feel comfortable, and what that's going to look like? But I don't even think she knows. I think she's got this very fairy tale. He's going to pick her up, and I don't know. It's not going to hurt, and it's just going to she's going to have 20 orgasms, and it's going to be magical. I don't know.
But that's one of the things that I feel like has been a weakness for MAFS. There's usually always one person in the marriage that they focus on, because there's all this talk about, her being comfortable, her being this, all fair, all valid, but you want to stay married in 8 weeks. But for you, it looks like someone creating a safe environment for you to feel comfortable to have sex even beyond the marriage. But then for Keith, it could be something different. I want to have sex with my wife.
Exactly.
So now we're focused on your needs, on being comfortable. Again, not wrong, but it's just, where's the balance
Yeah.
between those two? There's
Yeah.
no balance. So again, week after week, as I say, experts, you fucked up. There was no reason to bring a virgin on this show. It's already stressful enough. It's already like different. It's already a strange concept, and then you add this extra layer. It's just, I don't know. It's unfair.
Yeah, I think they thought they were going to get some ratings, that it was going to be
Yeah.
like a ooh, and maybe if they picked somebody from the Virgin show, you said there was that one person that's dying to have it, like maybe if they picked somebody like that, it would have turned out very differently.
But I want to ask this though, because I think in her rants to her mom, she said something about, does this, or maybe she didn't, or maybe it was just like my question. Keith has been understanding this whole
Mhm,
time
mhm.
and saying, like, it's fine, you're comfortable, I want you to feel safe. And then now he's like, being upfront and saying, like, her virginity isn't, I don't even know if he said is an issue. This is Iris. He said that it was a concern because honestly, how do you navigate this? Is this a switch up? Again, I can't remember if she said it, but like things like he was okay, and then all of a sudden now it's an issue for him. Would we consider this a switch up on his side? Because I don't want to be biased because I'm more understanding of where he's coming from. But from her point of view, if you tell me you want me to be comfortable and then all of a sudden you're saying like this is an issue, is this a switch up or a natural progression of like, okay, now we're getting to know each other, I'm going to have to make a decision, and now I'm getting to know that you might be a little immature. I'd rather not. Regardless of his reasons, do you consider it a switch up on Keith's side?
Well, I think the thing that she keeps missing when she has these conversations with other people is that she keeps bringing it up. When they were at dinner, she asked him, "Is my virginity going to be a problem?" So anytime he responds to her about her virginity, it's because she's asked him. He's not the one that delivers it without being
Mm-hmm.
prompted, like, yes, it's going to be a problem. It's because she always asks him, because I think the
Yeah.
last episode they were at dinner, and I forget how it came up, but she asked it. So I think that's what she needs to remember is, again, this is either her insecurity about it and she's starting to put it on him, but he's not the one that keeps bringing it up. And even with his friend, he's like, yeah, we'll figure it out. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to put that on Keith. I don't think he switched. I think she keeps asking him. And I don't know if she's asking because she's waiting for a different answer or she's
Mm,
waiting for a specific answer. But I don't really know.
mm. Her mom thinks that it's not necessarily a concern, like it's more care because he's thinking about the long term, and it's not a negative. She tells us that it is natural for him to be concerned about that, and that Iris is just taking it more seriously than she should. I don't know how they ended up with Iris because her mom seems completely different. Like, she doesn't seem so tightly wound like Iris is. Iris is worried that he would be thinking that, he didn't get the right person. And her mom says, the only thing I'm going to tell you is get on the diving board. I'm going to use the pool metaphor again, and get on the diving board and just dive in. And if you belly flop, you're still going to recover. And I was like, is mama telling her just have sex? Or is she saying, like, just go in emotionally? Like, I didn't get a read on that. How did you read that?
I took that as her mom going, like, stop being so uptight. Like, you signed up for the situation. You've held on to your virginity for this long. You held on to it because of a situation like this. Why not take the plunge, take the leap, take the dive?
Yeah.
And I think what that whole thing revealed to me is that whatever hang up she has is not from her parents.
Mm,
I take that back. It's not from
come
her
on.
mom because her dad would absolutely be like, don't do this. But um, it's not from her mom, whom she seems, at least in this situation, a little closer to, because I can't imagine her having this conversation with her
We haven't seen this dad who had a breakdown. Remember when the whole thing happened with Keith? They're like, if you need anything, let my mom and I know.
dad. Right.
And then now, since then, we have not seen this man.
No.
So,
But we got information. They are divorced. So they got divorced when she was 4. That was questions you and I both had. Now maybe we know when he went crying out of the wedding and there was this whole other woman. We're like, who is this lady? Maybe that's his stepmother.
yeah, that's true. So they're going for Keith is driving her to a surprise, And honestly, guys, cameraman, you could have done without the shots of Keith's car all banged up and dented right there. Like we could have gone to the other side that did not have a scratch, did not have a dent. Come on now. So again, Iris is such a kid. If someone's playing a surprise, just relax, just go in there. She's like, we're going horseback riding. And then she goes on and on about, I knew it. Same way I knew that we were going, was it shark? What was it they did? Dolphin something.
They went swimming with stingrays
Was stingrays?
on their honeymoon. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought it was like dolphins or something. But yeah, that I guessed it. I knew. I'm like, all right, you got it. I'm so smart. She said that. So they go on horseback riding because it's something that she's mentioned, and Keith remembered that, or the producers, and they had that done. At some point, I just want to point out that she said, "Hey, Keith, you need to keep your manhood. We need to have kids. Why are you using the terminology manhood?"
That's what you got. I wrote the same note where she's like, we need to have kids. And my note was like, how? By osmosis? Is he just going to throw his sperm across the room at you and your lady parts are going to catch it? Like, well, you're talking about kids, but you don't want to have
Oh,
sex.
Jen, that's a trick.
I,
We just fling it, catch it.
I was so
Look,
mad.
man, no hands.
Oh my gosh, I was so mad. You can't, how do you have these conversations of we have to have kids, but we ain't gonna have sex? Like, what? You're, I'm
Oh
mad
yeah,
and I'm not even Keith.
we can put it all together. Like, don't call it manhood. Nobody does that except, I don't know, those smut books from the 90s or something. Jeez Louise. So Iris says that it's important for her to let Keith know that she wants to stay married. And she does just that. And I don't know, Keith is just like, yeah, yes. He's just very agreeable. So they come home to a gift basket of wedding stuff. And I'm not sure why she wants to cry. Because she's like, oh my God, I'm going to cry. You were there a month ago. I don't know why you're crying. I sound so mean. I'm
No,
so
she's frustrating. It's frustrating. I understand.
So he gives her a gift. Once again, it's a heart necklace, and she gives him a gift, and it's a vinyl because he's very into music. And Keith is really touched. It is a very thoughtful gift because there's a whole bunch of records and things that he didn't have, and it was one that he didn't have either. So they're in bed talking about the future. And I don't know if you noticed, but Iris loves running her hands through Keith's hair.
Hair. Yeah, she does it a lot.
Yeah, she does that a lot. So they're doing that. And Keith was talking about, oh, in 2 months, something, something. And Iris is like, no, a year. And they're talking about, like, she's like, maybe in 50 years we will do that. And I'm like, all right, well, let's get through some humps first before we kept doing that.
No pun intended.
Actually, I didn't even think about that. You go, Tane, you're subconscious. And they're about to go to bed, and Iris just keeps going, and I'm like, is this a mating call? I don't know. Or is she just really just sighing? I couldn't read
I
what that
know.
was about.
It's a
But yeah.
Disney princess, oh, my glove, my handkerchief. If only a gentleman caller would bring it back to me. She's so dramatic.
You put your hand in like,
Oh,
good morning. So next thing we see is that they are at the ring store. They are just now picking up Keith's resized ring after 3 weeks. So they just left it chilling over there. But they picked it up, and Iris, you better not lose this again. You're gonna have this forever. My ring is gonna be upgraded, yada yada yada. And that's all we have for them this week. Okay,
poor Keith.
so our final couple, Deonna and Greg. Everything's still smooth sailing with them. And they have something unique. Pastor Cal is in town, and I don't know if this is a remnant from the last time, but no, it's not because we saw them. We saw him with them the last time. They're wearing different things, and he does mention that the last time I saw you, it was different, and this is your body language. But maybe we'll see the rest of them with Pastor Cal next week. But they were the only ones to have Pastor Cal.
Do you think they're Pastor Cal's favorites?
I don't even think it's a favorite thing because they didn't even need it. It wasn't like there was something. If anyone was going to get an expert, it would be Beth and Jamie.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
It'll be interesting to know what happened in this situation. But either way, they seem to have all the experts' attention because we've seen them quite a bit so far.
Well, because the experts know that they're probably the only couple that's going to make it this season. So they need to invest in making sure these two stay together. And so if they are truly watching all the tape and seeing all the videos and see that maybe this one issue that Deonna has with being closed off, if that's the one issue that they have, let's address it because they're the only ones that are going to save this season.
But I mean, like, they're generally there. Like, we've seen Dr. Pepper there, we've seen Pastor Kyle there before, and we've seen him now again, and this is just 1 month. So
True.
I think all of them in general, not just them. So compared to like now, where we're like, where are the experts? Come on
No, they need to come more.
down. So he points out that their body language is different. And he's like, does that mean there's been a difference in your, shall I say, closeness? And Deanna's like, yes, it is. And then because that's a yes, he immediately goes to, so has anyone brought up the love thing? And I'm like, guys, it is, it is just a month. So I'm not quite sure why we're pushing them to do this. And Deanna says exactly that. She's like, I'm not there yet. So Deanna says that she thinks Greg is there, but she isn't. And Pastor Cal was like, I think you're there too. Like, the thing when I talk to many couples is that they're in love before they even realize that they're in love. I'm like, why are you pushing this agenda? Okay. So he asked Deanna what she's afraid of, and she said she is fearful that he won't like who she is when he gets to see all sides of her, that right now he hasn't seen all her sides, and that is her fear. Honestly, which is valid, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like, part of being in a relationship, being vulnerable, is them seeing everything about you, and you just, how will someone receive um that part of me that you haven't seen yet? And Greg says he doesn't have the same fear because Pascal was like, do you have the same? He's like, no, but I understand. So Pascal says, I believe with all my heart that Greg is not going to hurt you. I'm like, all right. Like,
I
you
do
can't.
too. I thought that was so sweet.
I mean, it's sweet, but Pascal knows Greg as long as Deanna has. Okay, except the matching, but still, you don't know that. We've had some characters come in match. That was pretty brave.
But compared to the other fools they got on the show, it's pretty clear that he is putting in the work. And I think the thing that Pastor Cal said was, you need someone that's in touch with his feelings, which Greg 1,000% is. But also, experts, can we do that for all of the men moving forward,
Yeah.
please?
But Deanna agrees. Deanna, who didn't trust nobody, was like, you know what? I believe that he's not going to hurt me either. That this is what I asked for. I wanted someone that was kind. I did notice, like I always say, Greg wasn't asked a lot of questions. It was just Deanna, Deanna, Deanna.
Yeah.
So,
Did that bother you?
I mean, that's what I say. Yes, like I think that's a weakness for MAFS. Like, they
Mm.
always don't. There's not a balance. There's always a focus on one person. Usually the women, if I'm being honest, and maybe that's how it should be. I don't know, but I think like for an experiment like that, it would benefit them to look at it both sides so that both people bring in their best and have their best foot forward to give them a higher chance of being successful.
Yeah.
But I also know that there's editing, so I don't
Sure.
know what is or what isn't. So, um, yeah, I'm thinking about it because Dr. Pepper was pretty cool with Beth and Jamie by saying both of them. But with Keith and Iris, the focus is always on, making Iris comfortable. And Greg and Deanna's like, oh, Deanna, what are you scared of? What's this? With Matt and Amber, I think the focus is on Amber. And I get it. Some characters are not like as I'm saying this, I'm like, I don't even think we should ask Matt any questions. That's his problem. But I'm just saying in general, not just like them. Like, there tends to not be a good balance.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so they go bowling for date night, and Deanna shares how competitive she can be. And Deanna is actually liking Greg being competitive. Greg, as usual, is looking for compliments and physical affection and trying to fish out some kisses from her. So they do it where if you do a strike, you get a kiss, or if you don't, you have to do the chicken dance. It's just very playful, very fun. and very nice, and they go to a steakhouse for their dinner, and all is well. Like, they are the boring couple because all is well. She says that God gave her what she wanted and also what she needed, and she's working out the intimacy part, but so far so good. They get back home and they look through their photo album, and then they share like the top of their cake. That's supposed to be for a year, but a month, what's the difference? So Greg says, "You want to go to bed?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then he opens the door, and there are candles and rose petals and strawberries and whipped cream, and also roses in her favorite color, burnt orange. He does say that he did it when she took Sandy for a walk. I'm like, when?
Exactly. How did you
She's
have the
stealing her
time?
clothes from the steakhouse. Like, has this been burning the whole time? What?
Thank you, production. Thank you, PA. Thank you, cameraman.
So, yeah, so basically that was it. And it was just a really nice 1 month. We've had other 1 months where there were fights and there were people walking off, but this was, for the most part, pretty nice. Even Beth and Jamie got to have it. They just fought after, but even they got to have a nice 1 month celebration.
Yeah, I like that, and this was my interpretation that Deanna's love language is play, which is good because Greg is playful
Mm-hmm.
naturally, and so
Mm-hmm.
maybe for the things that she's not comfortable with, you've got to gamify it. So if you make a game out of it, because she's also competitive, so if you make a game out of it, then that may be the way to get her to do it. So I like that he tries different things. I like that he's open to different things, but I also like that he's honest with her, and he meets her where she is instead of forcing always her to come to where he is, which may be something that Beth and Jamie can learn from. So no, they're so sweet, and I hope they stay together. And it's so hard not going on social media, checking to see if they're still together. But I'm doing my best.
Let me tell you, Jen, that you have unlocked a new skill for me. Like, going through this recap, knowing how it ends, knowing how everything is, what's going on, and not even spoiling it. I am patting myself on the back.
You're doing awesome.
All right, Jen. Share with people where they can find you and where they can find your really fun videos.
Oh, thank you. You can find myself and my husband on our slow travel adventures. We are right now traveling through Southeast Asia. We are on YouTube at jns.adventures, and we have the same handle on Instagram.
All right, and you guys know where to find me. It is Altar Call MAFS on Instagram, on Twitter, on Blue Sky, and on Threads. I am deep into Big Brother 27. I don't know that I'm going to be live tweeting as much as I did for Love Island, but you can check me out on Threads if you want to see my thoughts on those shows. Please give me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. And if you're so inclined, you can leave a review if it's nice. It helps the podcast. And, people can be really mean these days. All right, guys. So until next week, we'll be back with another episode. I feel like we're almost counting down to Decision Day. We're almost there. And this is fun. So talk to you then. Bye, guys.
Bye.